Couple of games in the books today. Major League Baseball playoffs continue. One was a thriller, and one I think I had a snooze around the seventh inning. We'll talk about those with Lou Marston, my special guest, on tonight's edition of Playoff Sports Talk Live.
And now, Giant Sports Talk Live. Here are your hosts, Eric and Glenn.
Eric is on assignment tonight, but look, the ever so handsome, the beautiful looking Lou Marston, he's going to come in hot tonight. We saw a couple of good ones today. If you like offense, and well, maybe you were cheering for Seattle, you liked the first game. I thought it was a snoozer myself, Lou, but the second game, holy smoke, if we get a lengthy series and games anything as close as this, we're in for a dandy. So the Dodgers, they've been there before. They win it. They just seem calm in the moment. They got a big home run. I mean, most of you out there have seen it. Lou, give me your take on the game.
Well, first of all, you know, you guys were saying that Eric's not here. Eric is actually doing the Marty Lurie show. So Glenn goes, we got to get somebody. I was watching the game. Glenn was nice enough to call. I love helping him out. So nothing wrong with Eric, because if you saw him earlier, you're going to say, what the hell's going on? He doesn't care about us? No. You know, Eric can't be at two places at once. So let's just go there.
He might join us later if we're still here.
Yeah. You know what? Tonight's game, you can see the Dodgers have done this before. They're professionals. I thought Milwaukee was a little deer in the headlight. You know, Snell was unbelievable. He was dominant, but, the bats weren't that good. Milwaukee. And then, of course, they were down 1-0. And then probably saw Glenn, probably the craziest play I've seen probably in 25 years, where, as you guys know, the bases were loaded with one out. There was a fly to deep center. The center fielder tried to get it and went off the palm of his glove, hit the wall. And again, you remember, they have extra umpires, but they only have them down the line. So center field, it's a little wacko. So basically, it's a live ball when it hits the wall. And then basically the guy on the third went back. And that's sort of the bad running of the third baseman, or regardless. So he went back figuring, oh my God, he caught it. But really it was a live ball. That's why they had to force it home plate. And then you had two guys at first and a guy at second. And that's why they ran to third to get it. And it was a double play, one of the weirdest double plays I think I've ever seen ever, 8-6-2 double play. And I thought when that happened, the Brewers got the momentum going again. But really, they couldn't do anything. And, here's something else that you don't really think about. The Dodgers sort of got lucky in the ninth inning when, they added runs on, should have added more. It was 2-0. But probably the biggest play of the game was the ground rule double, because that ball was launched. If the ball isn't a ground rule double and say it hits the wall and goes anywhere, maybe that guy gets to third and it's a 2-2 game instead of 2-1. And as you saw, the Dodgers got out of it with the Milwaukee Brewers with bases loaded with 2 outs. But, again, small little things all matter in a one-run game. But when you looked at it, the Dodgers basically should have won the game. They outplayed the Brewers. But, it's going to be exciting. I really think this is going to be a series where, it's going to come down. Yeah, the Dodgers obviously have the starting pitching, but, the Dodgers still have a problem with the bullpen. And Milwaukee, they just don't have one guy in that lineup, and they'll come back. But, it's Snell. So, not surprising how good he is. That's why he gets paid the big money. And, that's why the Giants, went to get him that 1 year. Unfortunately, he started off, 0-6, and then he got good. But, and that's the other thing. When, you have a guy like Snell where he can go anywhere he wants, you always want to choose someone like the Dodgers for moments like this.
Yeah, and you know what, Lou? This was for a game that finished 2-1, this was an odd 2-1 game because the Dodgers had a chance to rip it open in the fourth, the fifth, and the sixth. And for some odd reason, like you say, a combination of bizarre incidents and couldn't get the deal closed, and that weird play. It was a close ball game. Freddie Freeman, that was a moonshot, wasn't it? Holy smoke, they're still looking for that ball.
Clutch. He's always clutch. Remember, he was MVP of the World Series last year. The guy is clutch. But
nobody's talking about the guy. Nobody's talking about the guy now that nobody talked about all year. You throw out his name.
Hernandez.
Snell, one hit ball in 8 innings. Everybody's going into this series, Lou. All I'm hearing is they got no pitching and they got no bullpen. And dude, tonight it was the pitching that won the ball game for them. Snell, he goes 8 solid, 1 hit, struck out double digits, got 10 on the night. Sasaki, he ran into a little trouble, but Trinan doing what? Don't forget, Trinan was in big games like this over in Oakland, over across the Bay Bridge for years, Lou. This guy, the Dodgers always, you said it to me before in the green room. The Dodgers have been there before. They got guys who've been there before. Trinan didn't look like he was too concerned at all. He closed the game, got the deal done. But I thought the pitching, for the most part, was pretty darn good for the Dodgers tonight. And here's another fact. It was the middle to the late stages of the Dodger lineup that got the hits tonight. Ohtani, you could tell Milwaukee was scared of him tonight, Lou. No, the Milwaukee Brewers aren't saying, well, he hasn't done much in the postseason, just let him hit. So they walk him 3 walks, but then Betts 0 for 4. Teoscar was 0 for 3. I guess in a way they're lucky to win game 1. They got the win, but I think the Dodgers are the better club.
Yeah, and I think the hidden gem for the Dodgers, and every team does, are the 2 Hernandez brothers. Kike and Enrique. It always seems like these guys always come up, get a big hit when it counts. They've been there before. But, I think the thing about the Dodgers, and we've all been saying this, and this is why the Giants aren't even close to being in the Dodgers league, is they played half-ass probably the first 120 games, made sure their bullpen working on that the whole year, but they had starters, 6-man rotation. Ohtani was supposed to pitch tonight, and they said, hey, Snell's feeling good, so we'll move you to game 2. They have pitchers that are now ready for playoff baseball, and no other of the big 4 really have that. Seattle's got great pitching, but they've never been there before. These guys know what it takes, and, with the Dodgers, sometimes that's all you need, 2 or 3 runs with their pitching. Again, it's not the bullpen we're talking about. And it's not Sasaki. It's talking about the starting pitchers, where the Dodgers have probably 4, if you count Ohtani, or 3 studs, and that's all you really need. You really just need 3 guys, a guy in case somebody gets in trouble, and then a closer. And you got to remember, we all talked about since Sasaki. This was the first time in a huge situation. He didn't come through, but he might have been caught in the moment because it is his first time. But he'll be better as the playoffs go.
Yeah, secret weapon of sorts. We're just nicely underway. It's Playoff Sports Talk Live. We're on the heels of the Dodgers 2-1 win over Milwaukee. I'm Glenn. That is Lou Marsden filling in tonight for Eric, who is on assignment. He's gone to another show, so that's okay. I went to the bullpen myself tonight, and I called in the ace man in relief, Lou. One thing I've seen in the chat tonight is this kind of statement. Trank should have just let it hit him. It was at his knee at about 100, Lou. Easy for people to say, oh, he should just take one for the team. Should have let it hit him, Lou. Yeah. I don't see anybody.
It's all reaction.
Nobody in our chat is standing in the box letting him hit him at 100.
It's all reaction. That ball had so much slurve on it. He's not thinking that way. He's actually thinking of himself. He's not thinking of himself. He's trying to protect himself. And you want to take one for your team. But again, if it was up high and maybe you could have taken in the caboose or something, but that was right at his kneecap, and it's just pure reaction.
We saw last night in the Blue Jay game, somebody took one in the knee, and that was just off a foul tip, and I thought he was going to be done for the series, Lou. It's easy, like you say. You're not in there to get hit. You're in there, and you're becoming a defensive. You're becoming defensive on that pitch.
Yeah. And, it's one of those things. It's all reaction. You can't blame them. It just happens. It's sort of like, oh, you shouldn't have let that guy, you're in a fight and you're all ready to fight a guy and you throw a punch. Oh, well, I shouldn't have thrown the punch. You're not thinking that way. It's all reaction. When you have first of all, you're trying to hit the ball. Okay. You're trying to get a base hit to win it. When a guy throws sort of a slur that almost hits you, you're protecting yourself. You don't want to get hit. But I understand where, some people say, oh, I would have taken. It's a lot easier said than done.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm going to pull a Dave Fleming on you here, Lou, to just to spoil what was an exciting game. And this goes back to the Blue Jay game this afternoon too, Lou. I thought the home plate umpiring was atrocious in both games, Lou. Do you spot that? Were you on board with that call?
I thought, the problem is I just want them to be consistent. If a couple inches above and you call a ball, you got to call it the same way the whole time. Because what makes it look worse is the players see it, they talk about it on the bench, and they said, hey, the high strike he's not calling. But then 2 innings later, the exact same pitch he calls in a crucial situation. And I think that's the biggest problem because the players, hey, they're going to adapt to the umpire. Okay. It's not always a square. You're adapting early, seeing it, but it's sort of hard. And it's hard both on the pitchers and the batters, but mostly the batters, they're trying to get in the groove. And if you ever notice, a lot of these things it'll be 0-1 and all of a sudden it's 0-2, even though it should be 1-1. And when you're batting, there's a big difference when 1-1, 0-1, 2-1, and 1-2. It sort of ruins it because they're just not consistent. But no, I understand what you're saying.
Oh, I thought there were balls that were off the plate constantly in the game. And Alejandro Kirk was, he was just, what do you do? Lou, that puts you in a terrible situation, especially you got runners on and as a hitter that there's no consistency. You're up there, you end up looking like Patrick Bailey. You're just flailing away. You're trying again, not to use the word now as a hitter, you're in a defensive mode trying to hit the ball. You don't know what. It's hard enough in Major League Baseball to hit round ball with round bat. But when you've got the umpire making it even more difficult, it just does not make for an easy situation for the hitter, Lou.
That's a great point. And it works both ways on the pitcher and the batter. That's why you just need to be consistent. And, that's why usually, an umpire is a low ball strike guy. They know it. But, when you get stuff like this, sometimes it's just so awkward. It's amazing. It just doesn't happen sometimes.
So in the National League and in the American League, your championship series go 2-3-2. So the Dodgers take away the home field now. So, they got a chance to go up 2-0. You're on the road. You win that first game. This is key in this National League and in the American League Series. The fans run in full force. I'll give it to the Milwaukee crowd. They're really into it. The home crowds have been great. Packed house, cheering on the team. Those fans, they're real, like you say, and they're spectacular. But then you go to Toronto's game today, also a home game. Crowd was into it early. Mariners took them out early.
Glenn,
went to the bullpen, just didn't have the pen to compete today.
And I think the big thing is when you're down 3-0 right away and you tie it up, but you got to get the lead. It's one of those things like when you're down 6-0 and you get it to 6-2, everyone gets excited, 6-4, it's 6-5. And you have chances to get the lead and you don't, and then you give up another run. It's just you work so hard to get.
Whoa, you're telling Giant fans? You're making that statement to Giant fans? That's the story of our
Giant
life.
Fans never have to worry about it.
Well, Glenn, we were down by 5, and we only lost 7-6. A loss is a loss. So
a loss is a loss. Yep. And Toronto's going to have to. The one thing about Toronto is they have been up against it before.
Mm-hmm.
I thought Seattle's bullpen has been phenomenal, but I know they have a day off. I think Toronto, don't count out. Don't think it's going to be a sweep yet, just because this team can hit. And I agree, the pitching has been phenomenal. but it's sort of hard for pitching to be so good for literally like 5 days in a row. So
Yeah.
I still think Toronto's got a shot. And I think once they get the machine going, it'll probably at least go 6. And like I said, I think the Milwaukee Dodgers series is going to be good all the way. You got to remember, Milwaukee started a bullpen game today. People aren't talking about that guy. It was a bullpen game, and they only lost 2-1. And in their mind, hey, we almost had it. They'll come back tomorrow and they'll see what they could do.
Everybody remembers the score. Recency bias is just wrapped up. Dodgers 2, Milwaukee 1. So the Dodgers have a 1-0 lead. It's now best of 7. And the game earlier today we're referring to, Seattle, they thumped Toronto 10-3. Eric and I did a quickie between games. We wrapped up the Blue Jay game. It wasn't pretty, not much to talk about, Lou, but the one factor in that game, here we had the Blue Jays, little bit of a rest. They were ready to go. They didn't take advantage of the pitching situation for Seattle. The fact that they had gone 15, they used their starters, their bullpen. I mean, they let Seattle just sneak into this thing by not dominating early and in this, not just early in the games, but early in the series, because they had a chance, Lou. They had a chance to capitalize on what would have been poor pitching. I mean, they got the pitching in Seattle. They got the job done. No thanks, in my opinion, to the Toronto Blue Jays. They just didn't get the hits.
Yeah, and that's why I think tomorrow Toronto's going to be able to get their mind back. It's going to be a very ruckus crowd in Seattle, but I think the one thing is they have a lot of good veterans and good hitters, and, hitting travels on the road. So I think maybe, tomorrow's day off is perfectly what Toronto needs. A lot of times it's weird. These teams go crazy at home, but when they get on the road, they're a lot more loose. And, before you know it, boom, they might get an easy lead. They can do exactly what Seattle did to them.
But it'll be tough, though. You're going back to Seattle. That fan base is looking for a berth in a World Series, man. They're going to be rabid fans. And as Jack Buck used to say, the late great, go crazy. Go crazy. It's going to be phenomenal when these series continue. Now, the Blue Jays take the day off tomorrow. It's a travel day. They're going right back at it. Dodgers, Milwaukee tomorrow. You expect similar kind of game, Lou? Defensive, low hitting.
Well, I think here's the key
matchup. You get Yamamoto up against Freddie Peralta tomorrow.
So here's the thing. Peralta is going to show up. He's going to be in line. The thing is, Yamamoto, how is he going to be? We knew Snell was going to be effective. His last 3 or 4 starts, he's been unbelievable. Yamamoto is not. Yamamoto is the type where he could come in, pitch 3 innings, give up 8 hits and 5 runs, and then you could come in and actually do exactly what Snell did. But I think with Milwaukee's lineup, I think it's a lot easier to hit Yamamoto than Snell.
Let me ask you this. Wait a sec. Let me ask you this, though. They started this is the weird thing about baseball, man.
The bullpen
at the end of the season, I just throw it. I go, we weren't there. I enjoyed the ball. I'm not going to try to dissect it anymore. They start the first game of a series, Lou, with a bullpen game, and they use 7 pitchers, Lou. That puts you behind the proverbial 8 ball right out of the gate.
Yeah, and that's a game really, you almost got to win 95% of the time. It's a game, you're going all in. And that's why tomorrow, now you have your best pitcher. That's why tomorrow is a must win for Milwaukee. I know even if they lose only on 2-0, but they need to win tomorrow because they have their guy. They gave him the extra day of rest. See, this is the big thing that nobody talks about. When you have to go to a 5-game series and you got to use anything to get there, and you have to use some of these guys, it's not that round that's affected. It's the next round. With your starters, and it's one of those things where the Dodgers were fine. They took care of business early. They got their rest, and they said, hey, Ohtani, even though you're pitching, Snell's got his rest, let him do it. And then now, they basically say Yamamoto doesn't have it tomorrow, Ohtani can come right in, or when they go back to Dodger Stadium. So, it's one of those advantages. The other thing, too, is you guys got to remember, new manager in the thing. when you've done it before and you know what to expect,
Right.
it's a huge advantage. Again, we were spoiled with Bochy, where he knew what it took, because people forget Bochy was in the World Series before he came to us. So he experienced what that was. So once the World Series happened in 10, 12, and 14, it was second nature for him, and there was nobody better. That's what made him a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Insane
with, Insane's name is perfect. Brewers are fine, Glenn. One game. If they don't win tomorrow, they're screwed. The problem I just brought up with Lou is they used a bullpen game. And like Lou, you said, they got to win the bullpen. If you're going to play those shenanigans, a bullpen game in game one, you got to win. Because now all of a sudden, don't forget one of the points I made earlier, Lou, the Dodger bats. They weren't there tonight in that bullpen game. You just wait till those bats. There's going to be games where they come to life. So I think being down 1-0 in a bullpen game, I think that's a detriment to the Milwaukee Brewers in a series against a veteran team, the Dodgers.
Yeah. Again, the Dodgers don't care about regular season. This is why they've signed who they've signed. It's all about the ring, and that's all that matters to them.
Nobody was talking. I remember what I said earlier, Lou. Nobody was talking about Snell. Like, oh my God, Snell. What is it about the Dodgers, Lou? They just have this team that shows up, and it's like walking into the bathroom. When we get to our age, I'm out in the middle of the night. I gotta blindly reach for the switch. I flip the switch, and the light comes on. It's the same with the Dodgers, Lou.
Yeah, again, good veterans that are winners. It's so funny. Everyone talks about Ohtani, but Mookie's been coming back. The last 2 weeks of the season, you can see Mookie's back. And then, of course, you just have a lot of leaders, on that team. The thing about the Dodgers is they're like 5 or 6 deep, really hitting wise, and these guys will all show up. You got the 2 Hernandez brothers, you got Tosco. The Dodgers are who they are and who we expect them to be.
I think I've heard that line before.
Yeah. So.
They are who we thought they were.
And
I'm bouncing around a little bit.
Glenn, you said something 2 weeks ago, and RJM's bringing it up. Is, remember, they came into the playoffs and they won 6 straight. They beat Cincinnati, where Cincinnati needed the games. That was that's even when they pitched Kershaw just to make sure he's still okay, and he pitched I think a 2-hitter. And they've only lost 1 game. So, the way the Dodgers are playing, they're a machine right now. So it's really going to be tough to knock them out. And I think you brought up a great point when I think a couple of weeks ago we went over the playoffs. You just kept saying, hey, it's the Dodgers. It's the Dodgers. It's the Dodgers. And I think you brought up a great point because, first of all, they're the defending champions. Someone's got to knock them out. But they have their team on the highest level for the playoffs. And you can see it. Just go down that lineup. Maybe, and again, Ohtani hasn't done anything yet. They, walked him twice intentionally, and, another time tonight. It got, you could just see Ohtani's going to hit, because once Ohtani goes, it's over, because now it's going to be way, way out of control. But, like I think tomorrow, it's a must win for Milwaukee. You don't want to go to Dodger Stadium, especially with the 2-3-2.
Let me ask you something else, Lou. Let's talk about this. It's something that has been a bee in my bonnet for many a playoff year now. What is it about the, almost to a point, over-managing your bullpen? Taking guys out when they haven't really, you got a starting pitcher in there, he gives up a hit, Lou, in the 3rd inning, and it's panic time. The game is so different now in the postseason, and whatever happened to, here's my 4, at least 4 stars. Here's my 4 postseason starters, and I run with them. They're not running with the horses anymore, Lou. And I miss the pitching matchups of the postseason, Lou.
Yeah, when you really think about the Giants, when they won 10, 12, and 14, they usually had 3 studs, and then they had their secret weapon with the freak coming out of the bullpen. But that's because they didn't need a 4-man rotation. They had 3 solid starters, so they moved Timmy to the long relief, sort of the hidden gem, and then you had the bullpen. That's the one thing is it's really tough because, remember, it's best out of 3 games on the road. You got to do whatever it takes to get 2. Then you got best out of 5. Now it's best out of 7. Of course, the World Series best out of 7. So I think I agree with you, where sometimes these managers who haven't done it before, they do panic, especially on a bullpen game. What they're trying to do is they're thinking, okay, I don't want this guy to pitch more than 30 pitches because we have a game tomorrow. And maybe if he goes 25, we can use it. And it's almost like the three batter rule. They even make it worse because, maybe the guy has 16 pitches, but he's done 3 batters. I'm taking him out. Well, dude, the guy's been in control, and Glenn, one of the great points is he goes against 3 batters and he's going against guys 7, 8, 9 in the lineup, not like the top of the lineup. And he still does the same thing. I got to bring in a righty. I know, but this guy's been in control. No, I got to take him out. So
it's all. Is it, Lou? Is it panic? Is it just the managers now mentally have adapted? This is the way we do it in the postseason. Why is it, Lou, that we've seen this kind of baseball in the most recent years?
Yeah, the last 2 years, and I think, baseball's changed. That was one of the reasons why Larry Baer wanted Farhan. They wanted to be ahead of the curve. And, this is why I'm hoping with Buster we can go back to reality, because not every team can do it. You got to have the caliber to do it. If you have a problem with the bullpen, then you just say, I need you to get through the 3 guys, because all you're doing is, hey, we're 5 outs away from the finish line. I'll do whatever it takes. But I think they do it too much, and it's game 1. I know you have a starter, but, if a guy can go through 3 guys and 11 pitches, why take him out? Don't take him out. The guy's got good stuff tonight. And you know what? That might be the only time he has good stuff the whole series. You don't know.
Yeah, it irks me to no end. And I mean, you saw, like you said, I was going to bring up the name Farhan. I don't like doing that, Lou, but the Giants try to recreate the wheel. Why cannot baseball? I said to Eric the other night, I loved baseball when I was younger, when I was a teenager, 70s. Into the 80s, I thought it was a magical era. We saw such great ball players. I mean, most teams were made up of stars. Now it's so watered down. Every team's got did the Giants really have a star, Lou? I question that. And one thing I am noticing, Lou, speaking of pitching, I'm seeing guys like Gosman, I'm seeing Snell, and I mean, can we keep one, Lou? Can we just keep one in the stable without him like leaping the fence? Come on.
That's what happens when you're cheap.
Oh, my
Gosman,
God.
They didn't want to sign him because we'll never sign a 4-year deal. Never give a pitcher a 4-year deal. That's the problem now. And because you've done it one way, what are you going to do with Ray? He might be one of your best assets beside Webb, and we're not winning with Webb. So now you have Ray last year of a contract.
Mm-hmm.
And are you going to sign him for 4 years, $120 million? Is it worth it off injuries and all that? It's not easy to be where Buster is, but it also takes kahunas to actually make a decision and then follow up with a decision. It's amazing. You never see these guys saying, I made a mistake, and like one of the things I do respect is, today there was a manager who's going to retire because he just said, being a manager of a team is not easy. And
a no-win situation, Lou. No-win situation
yet. And he realizes, too, I'm in a division with the Dodgers. So it's not that easy. I already have a gun with a bullet in my head, ready to say, hey, why aren't you doing the job? So, now we have 8 teams looking for a manager. And it's crazy because one of the teams, I can tell you, are a lot better than the Giants, especially now that they're healthy. Yeah. And they got a little bit more money. And I'm talking about the Atlanta Braves in the National League. So, I've noticed the last couple of days, the Giants have been very, very quiet, and I think now this is where when somebody in our division needs a new manager, it's and again, this might not be it. You never know. The Yankees, who knows what's going to happen with Boone? There might be 9. But I saw a stat tonight on the Major League. In the last 2 years, 20 manager positions have been open. 12 last year, 8 this year. So, everyone's trying to get that guy and someone that can lead them because, I think one of the things Dan said, and this was a great analogy that he said on the air, you're going to win, you're going to play 60 games, you're going to lose, you're going to win 60. So you have 120. The other 42 is going to be the difference between you being a 500 team or being a playoff team or being a world champion. And that's where you need a great leader, someone that's done it before, and leaderships in the batting, guys that are going to step up. And, like when I think of the Dodgers, it's amazing. Nobody ever really talks about Freeman. People forgot the guy was the MVP last year in the World Series. Yeah. And what's more amazing is when he left Atlanta, people were surprised because he literally will probably go in the Hall of Fame as an Atlanta Brave, but he left because look at the opportunity he had. He gets to play with superstars. Every year, he's going to be better because he has players among him that are better, and he's got a chance to get the ring. And that's sort of the difference. Everyone complains, oh, the Giants can't spend as much as the Dodgers. Why not? They have the money.
Excuses. And like I've said to Eric, I can respect when a team beats you. Lou, there's only one winner every year. Only one champion, Lou. That's a lot of losers and one winner. So, always to blame the manager of your ball club, why a manager is always the scapegoat is beyond me. I'm going to head over to the chat, Lou. Let's open up the window. Let's draw back the shutters. See what we got going on there.
And now, another Giant Sports Talk Live Super Chat.
All right, it's Fuji Simeon. Our old pal comes in. Eric does this to me every show. Do you ever notice?
Sports Talk Live Super Chat.
All right. Eric always pulls on that. He does that every night to me when I'm on my own. He turns on the, let's play it again and again and again. Anyway, Fuji Simeon's in with a $5 donation. Keeps the lights on here for another month at what was Giant Sports Talk Live. I love the fact we're Playoff Sports Talk Live. Get to do this, Lou. Happy Thanksgiving, Glenn. Lou, I just had the feet of turkey, buddy. Washed it down with a Pepsi. Now I'm having a lemonade. It's a great day to be alive, watching some baseball. Sorry to bring this up, Lou. So this goes to you.
Yep.
My Reardon Crusaders beat your Wildcats, SI Wildcats, 54-0 in football. You want to respond to that, Mr. Lou Marston?
I just had my alumni thing, and one of the reasons why I don't donate anymore is their sports program has dropped, been horrible. When I went to SI, Reardon was more of a basketball powerhouse. We never lost to them in football. We never lost to them as Sacred Heart. And now, and I'm not going to say it, back then it was all boys. Now that it's gone co-ed, it's really sort of dropped athletically, and SI's become the thing. They sort of remind me of the Giants. They're happy when they beat Sacred Heart and they win. We have a trophy where now it's 5 sports. It used to be 3 that called the Bruce Mahoney, where 2 guys, one went to Sacred Heart, one went to SI, and whoever wins this thing gets to keep the trophy. They're happy with that. Sort of like the Giants. Hey, let's battle for the 3rd wild card, but I'm frustrated. That's embarrassing. The other thing too about Reardon last year, I walked out for the first time of a basketball game. Reardon had 3 guys that went Division I. They are so much more superior than SI right now in sports. It's embarrassing. And one of the things I always said on Dan's show, a good friend of mine is the principal for Reardon, and his last name is Reardon. So the principal of Reardon is Mr. Reardon.
Ironic. There you go.
They're coming in. Yeah, hey, I can take it. It was 54-0, and guess what? It wasn't even that close.
Boy, coming in firing shots at Lou tonight, huh? Well, I'll tell you, I'm not a big football fan of Lou, but my college team is Rutgers, and if you go back in their record book, the annals, you look it up on the internet, they start the year every year playing teams that, first of all, I don't know the city. I don't know what state they're in. I've never heard of the team. They always start 3-0, and I'm always excited. And then I look back at the end of the season, I go, oh, geez, that 9-game losing streak didn't help. So it's easy to get, 54-0.
And it wasn't that
Fuji doesn't. I don't see Fuji in here when they're losing.
No, but he's a
Like
Riven
our
guy,
Giants
so I can take it being an SI guy. It happens. I mean, I don't really. I tell you the truth, I usually go to see who they're playing. Like I usually go to like an SI Sarah game because a couple of the guys from Sarah get a full ride to U of A. As you guys all know, I went to U of A. I was there when Steve Kerr was there, Tom Tolbert,
Nice.
and in basketball, last year Reardon, I literally walked out. It was like 78-44. And like I said, just Reardon right now is getting good athletes and they're just dominating. They're like the De La Salle of our area. And I'm talking nobody else is close. They're that good. So I appreciate Fuji giving another $2. And, I don't know if you'll ever compete because the Bruce Mahoney's between two guys. But, hey, how about a city championship since, maybe that should be the new award. Maybe, what they could do, Glenn, is what's that horrible trophy the Giants and A's used to do? With
Bay Bridge Award trophy.
Yeah, whatever that piece of crap was that nobody liked. But of course, the Giants made it because that was the only thing they ever won. Yeah. Fuji, that's what they should do. A city championship between Reardon SI
there you go.
And Sacred Heart.
There you go. Hey, little football. People, we never talk football here, but Lou, I'll be at the game Friday night, baby. My Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
CFL.
Taking on your team. Saskatchewan Roughriders. So I'm going to be there. I'll be thinking about you. I'll send you some.
CFL is so great. It's so funny because CBS Sports always shows the game on Thursday, and then they show games on Sunday. Yeah, and it's only 3 downs. And I will say one thing: we all have bucket list things. If you ever want to do anything fun, one time and just bring the guys because it's that big of a party. Go to a Grey Cup. The Grey Cup is the CFL Super Bowl. It is such a big party compared to like how we have Super Bowl Sunday. They start at Friday and they go Saturday and they go Sunday and just big parties. It's unbelievable.
They started on Tuesday, Lou, and have the parade, and it was big. Yeah, now it starts Thursday. I've been to many Grey Cups, my friend. I used to make that my fall thing. And you know what? It's not. I mean, people are so.
Yeah, and Glenn, why don't you
put a little something in this, Lou? People don't care, but there's nothing better than watching a Grey Cup game when it's snowing and it's like 20 below.
So I think the great thing about the Grey Cup is they give an opportunity for every team to host it. So it's not like the Super Bowl where they'll have it in Vegas, even though there might not be a team there, or New Orleans. Every team,
that's great about it, Lou.
That's
because
exactly what I mean.
You can look at next year and say, "Oh my God, they're playing in or they're playing in Edmonton. Oh, that's going to be a doozy when they're going to be shoveling. It'll be like that game when they're coming out with the tractor brushing the snow off.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. And the game sold out, and people are partying. They might not know, but we've had the same team the last 2 years, and both times they lost. So. You know how like Niner fans think they're good. Imagine if you go to the Super Bowl and you lose consecutive years, even though you had the best record. But CFL is an amazing thing. It's definitely one of the top 10 bucket list things. Go with a bunch of guys and just have fun, and they are fun. They're kicking the pants. So,
and you've never been to one, have you, Lou?
I've only been to one.
You went to a Grey Cup? Can you recall which one? And I probably remember
it was 3 years ago because my brother. One of my half brothers has gone to, I think, 15 straight. And he goes, "Lou, I got an extra ticket." I thought it was not Edmonton. I thought Vancouver, up in Vancouver. It was because it was one of the West Coast ones. And
that's what they play for.
Yeah, there you go. The Cup. The Grey Cup.
The Grey Cup. I'm getting a message. Lord Earl.
Yeah,
Earl Grey of Canada gave him the cup, and I can't remember the last one. But my Winnipeg Blue Bombers, Lou, go to it. I don't know if they're going to go this year, but last year, the year before that, they're in the final every year, and they always lose at the final minute of the game.
Yeah,
it's one of those things that reminds me of the Giants. Immediately after the final gun sounds of the Grey Cup, I always go, "That's it. Why am I even a fan? Why do I bother? They kill me every year. That's being a fan, Lou. Man, and you
Yeah.
know what? You know what the problem is, Lou? I shake it off, and comes training camp. I'm back again, Lou. I'm back again. Being a sports fan, man, is
and especially of the Bay Area. We were spoiled. We had the Warriors. We had the Giants 3 and 5 years. We had the Warriors. We had the Niners, early, and then we've been back. But, the biggest thing is too many people think of the past, not the future. And right now, to tell you the truth, the Giants, we're still 3 or 4 years away of getting to the dance.
Well, I want to talk more about that, Lou. Let's talk more about what the Giants have to do, because you talked about the pitching. I said they've let a lot of guys just slip away. There's a lot of work for Buster to do this offseason. We're going to talk about that. We'll keep reviewing as long as they keep asking in the chat. The Mariners and the Blue Jays, Dodgers, Milwaukee. But first, Lou, who do we got to thank?
You got to thank the people paying you, the sponsors.
Giant Sports Talk Live, brought to you by Lefties in Burlingame. Visit Lefties for all of your Giants collecting needs. By GenesisGoldIRA.com, Signatures for Soldiers. Duxwell Printing, for all of your printing needs in the Bay Area. Visit Duxwell Printing at 37 Wentworth Place in San Francisco. And by BetterCreditCards.com, for the best credit card choice for you. Visit BetterCreditCards.com, covering the San Francisco Giants nightly. Online, we are Giant Sports Talk Live. Now, back to Eric and Glenn.
That's right. And if you are in the Bay Area and you have a chance to support any of those sponsors, please do. They support us. And, in this day and age, we promote them. They help us. We don't go crazy. We're not the worldwide commercial leader in Giants sports talk. We appreciate their help, but they got to get their thank yous each and every night. And I got to admit, I always blame Eric, but oftentimes we forget about them. So there you go. Please do support those sponsors. So we mentioned it earlier. Let's before we get back to today's games, Eric, or I should say Lou, I apologize. A lot of work this offseason. Buster Posey still got a big basket, no eggs in it. And I'll tell you something else. Something I mentioned to Eric earlier this afternoon, Lou, you probably heard me bring it up, is I thought Buster Posey would have had somewhat of an inkling before the season even ended. All right, it looks like I'm going to need a new manager. What's the holdup, Lou? Why have another one bites the dust today? Schilt retires. The Padres are looking for a manager. There are other teams looking for managers. Why the wait? Is this going to be a situation, Lou, where other teams start, signing their guys, put their guy in the big chair, and we end up, because the fans are going to feel like we got second fiddle again?
Yeah, I think it comes down to three things. It's got to be safe, even though it might not be the right person they want to go after.
Okay.
I think money. I think even though the Giants have money, they don't really pay a lot for these guys.
Safe, cheap. What's the other one?
Cheap. And then expectations. I think because this is Buster's first. You got to remember. So if you look at the 8 teams that need a manager. So the flavor of the month last week, or the flavor of the week last week, was Nick Hundley. Now, I still find it amazing that we've heard nothing that Nick Hundley has interviewed with anybody else. Exactly. Are you kidding me? Someone like the Atlanta Braves, who are better than us, has more money than us, wouldn't interview someone possibly like a Nick Hundley. That's why I don't think it's a Nick Hundley. I think you have Susan and Alex that them are also being safe. Oh, well, Nick Hundley's got to be the guy. Why does he have to be the guy? Why? It's just like when the rumor started, it has to be Bochy. He wants to come back. We're talking like fans, but you got to sort of be realistic. Why would Bochy want to come back here when he got run out of town? Now, the big rumors today, Bochy might want to go back to San Diego. Now, you got to remember, he coached and managed San Diego the last time San Diego was in the World Series against Detroit, and we got him. And, that could be something. But again, I think they're a team that wants to win now, and they have a GM that wants to win now. I don't think he'd be a good fit. but I see fans saying that. But I mean, if I were somebody that had a choice, I would probably go to Atlanta because that has the best team, offensive, defensively. You got loyal fans, and you got a chance to go to the dance.
Well, let me ask you this, Lou.
A lot of questions.
Let me ask you this. When you talk about, our dear departed leader, he moved on to Texas. He was shown the door. He didn't. This whole
he got
having a
kicked
big
out. Whatever Alex says, that's
retirement. He didn't retire. They showed him the door, Lou. So I got to ask you this, so I know I'm on the right page. I'm on the same page with you. Buster comes out and says it won't be him.
Yeah.
It won't be him. Now, was he open to coming back, or the Giants just lock that door and he just ain't coming back?
I think with Buster here, maybe Buster says, hey, I know you don't want to manage anymore, but I'd love for you to be somebody upper management like us that can help us out. But tell you the truth, the last couple of years, that's all the Giants do is they get former people, former players and puts them in. It's almost like the mafia, where there's one guy in charge and it's somebody's brother needs a job. Let me see what I can do for you. Talk to Paulie. You know what I mean? It's like, and that's the biggest problem is the Giants have really gone after something that worked 10 years ago. And as you brought up earlier in the show, baseball has changed. Everything's changed. And the Giants need to change. Just because someone was a great player 12 years ago doesn't mean he's going to be a great coach now, because his mind would be the same as it was 12 years ago. You got to adapt. Baseball's different. You also got to have a GM. Like our GM admitted, which I thought was horrible with Buster, he's still learning. Well, why in the hell does he have the goddamn job? Second of all, why is he our GM when he was still part of the Farhan thing where we should have cleared everybody out of the Farhan? When you got Buster in, it should have been a clear, get everybody and start from scratch. And he didn't. I think that's Buster's biggest problem. Melvin should have been gone before, but he's a nice guy. He's friends with a third baseman. He was a good Oakland A's manager. It's the same BS.
You and I are brothers from different mothers, man, because you and I seem to be always, you and I are in the same corner of the ring whenever we talk about stuff. I totally agree. You can't, what's this? Well, we're going to clean house, but we're going to leave this guy because, he's cheap and we're going to we really like this guy. And, Panda can't fit in his pants, but he was a good player for us 8 years ago. So we're going to bring him back. Stop it. You used to call it, and I've used the term, the love affair. Come on, Lou. Why is this team not a? When I say
why is it a love affair when we've only had one winning season since 2016, and that was a fluke. 2021 will never ever happen again.
It's Thanksgiving Day in Canada, Lou. It reminds me of Thanksgiving Day. Yeah. It's like they want to keep the family together, man.
And it's so weird because last year, when you really think about it, what moves did we make? We signed Adames.
And then we just went back to the well. We got the same guy. We got Lamont Wade and Yaz. So we didn't have a big off-season.
Take us to the playoffs. They were all safe moves. And I want Buster. I don't care if you fail, but
I say that go too, Lou. I don't care. Just be aggressive. If it doesn't work out, at least you tried. We're not even trying, Lou.
Yeah. NorCal, I did see that JT thinks the Giants might try to get Cleveland. The problem is, why would Cleveland want to give him up? So
that's ridiculous, Lou. I mean,
you're going to have to give him a player and maybe draft choices.
That ain't happening, Lou. That's just
you're being ridiculous. Contract. I know. I'm just bringing it out there. The Great Council thing was different. People don't realize Council went, but it wasn't like he just left. The guy was under contract, so the Cubs had to give him draft picks. There's a lot of work. It's just not like, hey, you want to go ahead. And as to the question too, there was two parts to your question about being safe. Oh, why he hasn't done it is maybe there's someone that I said that is still part of the final four coaches. And as you know, you can't negotiate or make an announcement that someone's first base or third base coach is our manager. So it could be one of the big four teams that are still going. Or maybe he has somebody and everybody and his mom wants one player, and he's thinking, everybody wants him to do Hundley. He's sort of the flavor of the day, but I sort of like somebody from Seattle.
Yeah.
Maybe I like that, or maybe I like someone from the Dodgers, or I like someone from Milwaukee. You don't know, but I think I think you're allowed to announce it once the World Series is set, but you can't do it during the playoffs. Again, I'm not 100% sure because this has happened before, but I think, they're going to try. I think we don't know who it is. I think only Buster and Manaea know.
Yeah.
And maybe Larry Barrett. I think of the 5 people. I mean, it's amazing. Last week, everyone talked about Hundley, the college coach from Tennessee, which sort of came from left field. I mean, there's so many guys out there that want a possible job. I mean, until JT Snow started talking today, I never thought about the Cleveland manager.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those things. So I think we just got to be patient. I think the most 2 valuable days are once we know who the 2 the World Series teams are, 1 week after the final out of the World Series, free agency basically starts.
Right.
And I think one of the things Buster's going to have to do is he's going to have to be as fast as he can because this year's crop is really bad. And, I want him, everybody gets upset. If we have to trade Eldridge and somebody to improve our team, we got to do it because we don't have a team right now that's a playoff team. That's what I don't understand. We're always happy with teams that we don't want to trade. The only way we're going to get better is you got to trade quality to get quality, and Dan always used to say we should have traded Webb last year or trade Ray in the offseason. Right now, if we're stuck with the same team, we're going to be a 3rd or 4th place team in our division. It's not like the new realignment. The new realignment's not going to happen to 2030. So I don't want to be here in 5 years where the Giants still haven't even been in the playoffs. We're not even sniffing it, guys. So
the problem too, Lou, can't sit on his laurels, can't sit on his hands waiting. That's why I said the process in his mind should have been underway before the season ended because this didn't come at a left field or anything. I mean, Bob Melvin didn't drop dead. This isn't like, oh my God, we got to get one. Buster should have had his homework. He'd been doing his homework, as you'd like to say, Lou. And the problem is, if you don't act quick, like I said, with Schilt having announced his retirement, other teams are in the mix. So we go back to the chat.
And who wouldn't want to manage that team?
Right, but we got a question
San
for
Diego
you.
or Atlanta.
What's the most desirable managerial spot opening up, Lou? Would you say it's San Diego right now? I love that ballpark.
I think it's the Atlanta Braves.
The
Atlanta Braves. Great organization. They'll trade at the trade deadline. They're healthy. They had, 3 guys go down. Their former MVP came back. People don't realize at one point they were like 31 games below 500. And they only winded up like 8. So they had a great second half of the season. They have money that they can spend. I think them and then probably San Diego. That's the other thing is, Glenn, you bring up a great point. If Buster wanted Hundley so bad, he should have got him now because now with these openings, why wouldn't someone like Atlanta say, hey, this is what you have. This is what you can get. Look at our team. We're a playoff team. You don't have to, you know what I mean? Same thing with San Diego.
Right, but like you said earlier, Eric likes to go, yelling. Hey! I don't hear anybody going, hey, Nick Hundley. It only when it comes up in our chat or in our market, Lou, it grows legs. I don't see him being, like you say, the flavor of the week. I mean, they certainly don't like to seem like whatever flavor that is. They don't seem to like that in other Major League Baseball cities because I don't even hear his name mentioned, Lou.
No. I think the other thing too, beside a manager, is they say Matt's not coming back. You got to get new coaches. Pat the Bat. Tell you the truth, Pat wasn't from Burlingame, didn't go to Burlingame High. It wasn't like he was a great Giant. It's like they got to get guys that, first of all, they're not easy jobs to do. Being a batting coach is very tough. as people forget, when they were Florida Marlins, Bonds did it 1 year, and he says, I'll never do it again. Because literally, it's a 24-hour job. You're there early. You're working with kids. Some of them may never make it. Guys' problems. I mean, it's a hard job. That's why Barry, everyone always says, oh, get Barry to be a batting coach. First of all, he has enough money where he doesn't want to put himself through it. And it's not an easy job, So it's one of those things. All right. Hey, RJM, you think San Diego's a shit show? Why do you say that? They finished second. They have better starting pitching than us. They have a much better lineup, and they have a GM that goes for it. Tell you the truth, if you were a manager and you had that opportunity, you would love to be in a team with San Diego. And every game's sold out. And it's a beautiful area. Now the cops are after me. Somebody call on me? Hold on.
While we're collecting your thoughts, I got to clear out a couple of these, Lou. Hope you don't mind. Fuji back. He says, it's all good, Lou, about Reardon. And he had another one, too. Should now compete for the Bruce Mahoney. Any thoughts before I move on from those?
Yeah, that's just an award between SI and SH. And that's why I said they should probably have a city championship. But thank you for the donations, Fuji.
Yeah, Fuji Simeon. I mean, Fuji Simeon, he's like a long-lost relative. Always part of the show, always pays his dues. Like when I was in Boy Scouts, you had to pay your dues every Thursday night, Lou, which was like 25 cents or 20 cents.
Of course.
Back
I
in the
remember
day.
that.
Yeah, but I was just, I think I had a dream. I nodded off last week. I was having a dream. I was still in Boy Scouts. I don't know where that came from.
And the Scoutorama tickets, you had to sell those tickets. It was a Scoutorama, and then when you got to a level of the Weeblo, I mean, growing up, I was in Cub Scouts, but at the same time, it was always on Tuesday night, and I'll never forget. The biggest situation was it was on Tuesday nights, but I don't know if you remember the great show Happy Days. When Fearless Fonzarelli jumped over the shark, nobody showed up because everyone stayed home to watch probably one of the best shows growing up, Happy Days.
Absolutely.
Monday,
Tuesday, Happy Days. Well, there haven't been many happy days for us here, Lou.
Yeah.
But we got another one here directed to Lou. Yep. Pat the Bat was Belmarin. Was it?
Yeah, Bellarmine boy. Yeah. So
Bellarmine.
He's from the area.
Bellarmine.
And I think that's the only reason why Pat got it. Now, I'm not saying he wasn't a good, Giants were lucky to get Pat because he got released because he couldn't hit. But he was our batting coach. And Glenn, I don't know, when I was doing stuff with Dan, everyone wanted Pat and Matt Williams fired probably about 2 months into the season. Mm-hmm. So, they weren't doing the job. This is when the Giants are going like 1 for 15 runners scoring position. I don't think either of them did a good job. I know Eric's a big fan of our pitching coach. To tell you the truth, I know we give Melvin a bad time, but I thought our pitching coach was sort of erratic too the second half of the season.
Lou, let's go there. Let's talk about it, Lou. Let's do a little deeper into that. I thought that, well, let's just say now, okay? You're talking about making a change. I'm through. I'm tired of the wholesale changes, Lou. Let's just get a fresh look. We need to replace more than one body in this organization. Buster has got to Buster can't. He's got. When you get a leader, you got to be fearless. You need a fearless leader who goes, that's it. You know what? In radio, I always take back something I know. Dude, we used to hate ratings week. Now I own the company, so I'm not so scared anymore. I don't like it if we don't have a good ratings, but at least I'm not getting the axe.
Yeah.
At the end of ratings week, people were crapping a brick, Lou, because you didn't know if he was walking in to fire you on Monday morning or not. It could have been one guy, could have been two guys, could have been mass exodus. And I think we're overdue for a mass exodus, Lou. Why can we not get a fresh look? A new manager. This is your opportunity, Lou. I'm getting all wound up just over a manager and a batting coach now, but this is our opportunity. If you want to get a new manager, he's going to bring in his own guys, do a sweeping change here, Lou, because certainly the productivity hasn't been up here, Lou.
Yeah.
This isn't, we could never get rid of these guys. Why not? What have they done for you lately, Lou?
I completely agree. And the problem is, I'm not going to always say it's a safe picks, but they're happy. We're a 500 team. How can you be happy when you're finishing third or fourth out of 5 teams? And everybody else is getting better. We're stuck with big contracts, and it's fine. Larry Bear, we got $3.2 million. Well, you cut it out with that crap. You were lucky you had good teams play on the weekend. And out of 3.2, maybe you had about 2.7 that actually showed up. But they're happy.
Yeah.
Oh, but these are good guys. Who cares? If Larry Baer was the CEO of a Fortune 500 company and we were mediocre and you had 14 people that were invested and we were barely breaking even and we weren't putting a good product, you would be fired.
Oh,
but you know what? They're happy. Oh, he got 3. He'd be gone. And the problem with the Giants, a lot of Giants fans, is they are happy for something that happened over 10 years ago. What they should be is we've had one fucking winning season in 10 years. This is a disgrace. Okay. Second of all,
thank you,
right
Lou.
now, there's no competition. The A's are in Sacramento. We should be dominating. Third, my God, when you look at the talent, the young talent, we have Eldridge. That's all we've heard about for 3 years. Are you kidding me? There's more talent up in Sacramento. My God, they got 4 rookies that are studs.
Yeah.
Right? There's no excuse. And the other thing is we are the San Francisco Giants. The problem is some of the fans treat us like we're the San Jose Giants. Oh, yeah, hey, it's good. Look, we're getting better. Maybe next year we can be 2 games.
Yeah, but there's too many fans like that, Lou. There's too many fans who like to go and take selfies and eat their dipping dots and just it's a getaway. It's not sports. It's entertainment, Lou.
No, and they do it more like I've gone to a couple of Reno Aces games up in Reno because I wanted to go see the Giants play. Of course, the second game I went to, Eldridge struck out 4 times. And they lost, I think, 16-2. But the problem is the Giants, for some reason, we know what the problems are. Our farm system is garbage. Okay. That's why I'm a little bit worried, Eldridge, because everyone puts him on a pedestal so high. It's almost impossible. No one's going to be like Willie Mays. Okay. He's the guy you put on pedestal. Give the guy a little time. But we have nobody else. Okay. Then we have guys. We were happy this year. I saw a lot of times on me and Dan's chat where, yeah, but Lou, everyone's batting 240. I don't give a shit about everybody else. Okay. Everybody else is better than us. I'm only worried about our team. I'm worried about guys that can't show up in the clutch. I'm worried about guys that strike out almost 200 times a season. I know, Lou, but they're like when Devers came, I was pissed the first 6 weeks. Eric's excuse, he's in a new era. He's an East Coast guy. He had to move his family here. I'm so sick of all that bullshit. Okay. We're the San Francisco Giants, guys. You know what
you
people
said it.
look at
You
us
said
for?
it. You said it, not me.
The Dodgers laugh at us. They laugh.
It's true.
Maybe there was a reason why the Giants got Devers and the Dodgers didn't. You're going to take
And
an
Lou,
8-year deal.
You're throwing out the big name. You know how many guys I had to face this year, and Eric, to be fair. My God, my boy, I love him, Robbie Dizzle. But we signed this guy, Dominic Smith, and Dom had some good games for us, Lou. We got to re-sign him, sign him long-term. I'm like, well, wait a second. Is Dom really where you're setting? See, again, Giant fans seem to set their height. Well, he's good. He's good.
He's above average. But he's not a starter.
We got to aim for better, Lou.
We have to aim for better. It's like, here, I'll just do a quick thing. Let's start at catcher. Do we need upgrade in catcher? With Bailey.
Oh, yes.
Okay. But we're happy with his framing and defense. Okay, well, you're not going to go anywhere when you only care about the guy's defense. First base. What are we going to do at first base? We have Eldridge that might be good, but we're not sure. We have Devers, but we want to bring back Dominic Smith. Okay, now, Eldridge isn't going to play the outfield, he said. Okay, if it is, he hopefully he's not doing winter ball, so he's not practicing down there. All right, so let's go to second base. We got Casey. Now, Casey was okay, but a lot of people also noticed Casey isn't a full-time player. He's more of like maybe a 20-second,
but again,
player off the bench.
You can't hang your hat on. He's good, Lou. He's good.
Okay. Now, we got it. We got it. Yeah, we got Adames at short.
Killing me.
He was very up and down. Remember, he's the highest paid Giant of all time. I expect more.
Yeah,
then you got Chapman at third. People go, oh, Chapman's great. Yeah, he's good defensively. But, the last 2 years, and he's only been on our team 2 years. It just seems like he's been here a lot longer. The guy's batting .212 with runners in scoring position. To me, that's not worth $25 million a year. There are other people better. I'd rather get someone that can hit and maybe a little less defense. All right, let's go to our outfield. Who is our right fielder?
On any given Sunday, who knows? We don't have one, Lou. We
don't have one. Who's our center fielder? Lee?
Jung Woo, but I was looking up his I've been the guy going to bat for him, Lou. And speaking of bat, that's about all he has. His numbers as far as cut rates and
save and everything. Arm.
Terrible. Terrible. His
terrible.
defensive
He's
numbers.
Like 22nd out of 26 in the National League. All
so
right,
I stand corrected. I'm not going to be backing him, but I do think his bat plays again. No offense, and I support. I like watching Jung Hoo. There's a lot of fans who do, Lou, and that's fine.
Yeah,
I mean, you got to have somebody to. Lou, at the end of the day, you got to have. If you want to be a Giant fan, there got to be somebody to cheer.
Yeah, you got to have somebody to look forward to.
All right, I go watch him play.
Yeah,
and again, at the same respect, I can look to you and talk to the chat here and say we can do better, Lou.
I agree. All right, who's our left fielder? A guy that can't run the bases, that can hit, but his defense is atrocious in left field.
We're an average team. We're an average team, Lou.
I think we were
maybe
very
not even below average.
A little below that. All right. We'll give Webb, since everyone loves Webb, and Ray. Who's our number 3 guy? Is Verlander going to come back? And would you sign him at his age?
Again, I said to Eric the other day, and Eric, some people are, you know what? Some of the fan base, they're just happy with what we have, and there's always brighter tomorrow. And Lou, mediocre. That's it. There you go, Lou. And the guy had 2 good games, and they want to sign him. And you saw McDonald come in and pitch the last game of the year. Oh, you look great today. We got to sign him. Stop it. Go out and get me real pitchers. It's the same in every position, Lou. Are you doing this on purpose, Lou?
We need difference makers. We need difference makers. It's like when you saw during the playoffs, and I'll give Seattle the credit. Their bullpen is lights out. The Giants' bullpen was good for the first 2 months of the season, but the last 4 years, by August and September, their arms are dead. They've been used too much because they don't have great starters. It's one of these things where, people are excited next year. Oh, Giants. Okay, unless we get some studs, some guys that are clutch, we might be worse next year. Why? The Dodgers are going to do whatever it takes to keep on top.
Right.
San Diego, they realized, hey, they were a bat short. They're going to do whatever it takes to get a bat. Arizona's going to be better because they were young. You got to remember, they traded 2 of their studs to Seattle. But it's because they knew they couldn't win it, but they have a great farm system. They have young guys. Colorado's the only team that really were better, but they have young guys who are probably 2 years away. And, you got to remember, the playoff team, Cincinnati's going to be better. You're going to have Atlanta better. The Giants need to step up. Not only do they need a manager and coaches, they need some guys with some clutch genes. It's one of those things. Yeah, $1 late, $1 short. But, I've been hearing the same thing. And the problem with the fans, I know, but Buster's in charge. Okay, well, he had his 1 year. He had his mulligan. He needs to step up now and get guys that can make a difference. That's all I'm asking,
Difference makers. And we are, Lou, maybe you and I are the only ones on this page. Are we a little too hard on Patrick Bailey? Or would you be quite fine if you picked up the newspaper, which there aren't many, as you said last night, but I'm old school. If I pick up the paper tomorrow and they say, well, we've moved on from Patrick Bailey, are you going to be going, breathing a sigh of relief? Or are you going to be going, oh my God, what have they done? For me, I'm like, okay, we can take a step forward now.
Well, you have someone like Buster that can help with a young catcher on the framing. I think you can get someone that can frame, that can be taught. I'm more important about offense. Most of the time he was always batting 8th or 9th. Now, I admit he did have 2 of the biggest hits of the year, but 90% of the time he didn't come through. I mean, I remember people saying, stop switch hitting, because it was just 1, 2, 3, you're out. 1, 2, 3, you're out, like the old Bugs Bunny, and they weren't making contact. It's tough. Eric, my man, how did your show go? Marty's
What's up?
still in
Not
one
too
piece.
bad, Lou. Yeah,
Okay,
Marty's
good,
there. Yeah, Marty, Glenn, and Lurek. Yeah, was good stuff. Good stuff. Looks like
Good
you
to
guys are holding down the fort, man. Yeah,
Yeah,
buddy.
we just been we talked about both games. Sort of, of course, the Dodger game sort of had a little of everything. We talked about the play in center field, the
What
late
was
night.
that about, man? Holy
Yeah. And then
that was
and
great.
then Glenn brought up the point because somebody talked about the manager and the new possible new manager down in San Diego. Now there's 8 teams.
Yeah,
if you
8
notice,
teams looking for
Nick
for a
Hundley's gotten
manager.
sort of quiet because he was flavor of the week
As-
last week. And Glenn brought up a good question. Does Buster have a plan? Is he maybe waiting for one of the 4 teams? Is Nick Hundley the guy? Why wouldn't you
know what
sign
it could
Hundley
be?
now? Just all this stuff. And then we
You know what
started
it could be?
talking.
They
Talk
may
to us.
already have their guy, and they just can't announce it yet for whatever reason. Maybe the MLB.
Yeah, so we talked about that. You can't announce, and you can announce it once the playoffs are done, before the World Series.
before the World Series.
Before the World Series, and then
Small
once
window.
the final, you
Very.
have a little window, and then once the World Series is over, 7 days after the last out is when free agency.
5.
Or is it 5 days? 5.
Yeah, it's 5.
So those are the 2 important dates. And, as Glenn said, there's a lot of holes the Giants need to do. And we just can't come back because that's the one thing. It's everybody else is going to try to improve to be next year's, maybe surprise team like Seattle or, you look at, we all talk about Hundley. So here's my question. If I was Nick Hundley, would you rather do the Giants? Would you rather maybe manage Atlanta where they'll do whatever it takes to get over the, money wise, or maybe, hey, look at San Diego,
Yeah.
So there's a lot of stuff where,
and he's played with San Diego.
Yeah. And he's, So, so there's just a lot of stuff where I think too many times Glenn said, Lou, we're happy with some of our decisions when we should be upset. Last year, I know we made the trade for Devers, but really it wasn't a trade because we took in the 7-year deal. Now, I know we had to do that because we can't get free agency. Well,
Correct.
in the offseason, how are we going to do free agency if we haven't done it in the past? Then we're going to have to maybe trade.
Yeah, and that's going to be something. Where I got a feeling?
I think we're going to have to trade somebody where people are going to go. And again, we don't know if a trade's good, probably not for another 6 to 8 months. You got to give it time, and you got to trust if Buster trades a couple guys to get better. That's all we can ask for because the team right now isn't a playoff team, so we got to try to improve any way we can.
That's a good point. And here's another thing to go along with your manager stuff real quick. Well, let me start first with the play. I think the Giants could get a starting pitcher, and they could get the pitching. They just got to be willing to shell out the money. And to be honest with you, you kind of have to. If you want to get a rotation and you want to fortify your bullpen, the Giants are going to have to spend money. And I don't think that's a problem coming to Oracle Park for the simple fact that if they're looking to pad their numbers, well, you're going to be good to go. And here, I'm going to tell you something here about the managerial stuff. I kind of was talking about this. What is this? About a month ago. Maybe the problem is AJ Preller. How can this guy not continue to have managers work for him? Whether it's Melvin, whether it's Schilt, who was it before him? God, who was it? I can't even remember his damn name. But they've gone through managers pretty damn often. So maybe
he retired though. You can't throw that dart at the board, Eric, because he retired.
Why is he
retiring?
Why is he retiring?
Maybe he had his 2 shots and he goes, I'm just ready to retire.
Maybe he doesn't.
And maybe their fans are upset that they get to the dance, but they can't get to the altar.
And that's the thing. It's happened under a couple of managers. It happened. Look, Melvin took him to the NLCS. Schilt has taken him to the DS, to the wild card.
And what's wrong with that? You should be
Nothing.
shitting your pants. If you're a Padre fan, shitting your pants that he left. Not that he's not there. Like, you wouldn't. Do you want him gone, Eric? They should be shitting and saying, well, sign that guy to a 10-year deal.
I agree. So why is he retiring? There's got to be something.
Maybe he wants to retire, Eric. The guy's not a spring chicken anymore.
That is true. That is true, but it just
you should come to
seems a
realize
little
hanging around with old guys like me and Lou that, sometimes you need a little break here along
Eric,
the way.
Eric, I think
hang around
that's a
with a
great
lot of
point
old guys.
because the Giants say they get a manager and he only makes it 2 years. That'd be what, 5 and 10 years. And you need, constant. You need constant leadership. And that's why the Giants are so good when Bochy was in charge. He had his people. It was the same people over and over again. And the expectations were the same. And I never thought about that. I thought he retired just because mentally he was drained. You got to remember last year, they were the team, couldn't come through. There's a lot of pressure too, but I'd rather have someone like that. So at least you get to the dance and an opportunity. And the other thing too, bringing a manager in, you have a GM that's going to go for it, which you got to love. And then you have some solid players still on that team. I mean, they have a couple, they got a good team. Yeah. So
they got a good team. Again, I'm going to tell you something. And this might throw a little wrench in the works. I talked about this earlier with Glenn. If you got a potential manager candidates out there, who are they going to be more lured by? Are they going to be more enamored with San Diego, or are they good with coming to San Francisco? That's something you're going to have to battle as a GM now, because look, we're just talking about San Diego's a better team right now than the San Francisco Giants. So
we're at my place now, Lou. The cops have been out in full force between Lou and my place. Lou and I are hanging. We're just diving under desks here. Jesus.
But it's going to be interesting to see how Buster and again, maybe he already has his guy. I don't know. And it doesn't seem anybody knows. So it's going to be, I'll tell you what, Lou, right? As for a San Francisco Giants fan, there's a lot to be talking about here in this off. Because look, this playoff baseball has been absolutely fabulous watching. I think once that's done and we get into the postseason, San Francisco Giants fan, there's going to be a lot to talk about.
I think the most important thing to talk about, guys, is the management hiring your new manager. This may be the biggest decision the Giants have made in probably a decade, because right now there's no room for failure for Buster Posey. He hires this guy, and if in 2 years we're back, well, that didn't work out, we're looking for another one. He's got to get a guy who stays. That's the problem. Like Lou mentioned a few minutes ago, I don't know if you were in, Eric, there's been this organization. It's been a constant revolving door, bringing people in. We're talking about the pitching. I said, how come I'm seeing all of our pitchers, Eric, our pitchers pitching in the ALDS, in the ALCS, in the NLCS? Why? And then if he hires a manager and he's not long-term, I mean, I don't think Buster will be long-term, to be honest with you.
Hey,
I think his balls are in a vice. If he doesn't produce, this cannot be a continuing revolving door. Bring players in. Oh, they're going to sign elsewhere because we won't pay them. We got to get another manager. I mean, between even Buster's position, when has anything gone right for this club in the last 6-7 years? Guys have come, guys have gone. We can't keep a manager. It's been a cluster mess over and over and over. We're not getting any better. No wiser, so to speak, with age here.
And then, Eric, what do you think about this? Maybe Buster has his guy, but the other owners, guys like Larry Bear and our GM, actually want a name, not someone like Nick Hundley, who doesn't have experience. You know what I mean? They want, like, if they had a choice, I'm just throwing it out. Someone like Boone, dude, he managed the New York Yankees. Why don't we get him? Or do we want someone like Nick Hundley, who was with 18? You know what I mean? He's not the fancy name. And I think that's the problem right now, where they might have maybe Buster has his guy, but I think maybe he's gone from like 4 down to 2. But again, overall, Buster's going to say, but again, you have a lot of guys saying, no, he's not really the name. It's like the Giants, that's, as I'll say with Glenn, he loves it. This is the safe pick. He's done it before. If he did it with the Yankees, I mean, now he's got the Giants. He's got to be able to be good. And I think,
and I don't see the Giants. Giants are great at getting pitching for 1 year, not long-term when it comes to Farhan. You can't blame Posey. Well, I'm blaming Posey. He's into his second year. Lou, you brought it up early in the show. What has Posey done so far? Got us Devers.
Yep.
But he also got us back.
Got me Yaz and Lamont Wade and no pitching. Like,
And they
I
also
need
got to
some action.
remember.
I need some results.
And Glenn, he traded our two best relievers.
Mm-hmm.
And then we fell short by 3 games. So I need to see results, Lou.
Gonna see it.
Well,
I got a feeling you're gonna see it in this
as
offseason.
Eric said, hey, it's his first year. He's got his mulligan. But I
Mhm.
think one of the things, too, that he did in his press conference is he stood up and he said the fans deserve better. The
He
fans
understands.
deserve to be in the playoffs. Okay, well, you've now spoken.
That's his job.
You better follow through, and you better get us to be better. Or you're just like Farhan. You're like Pinocchio. You're telling us what we want to hear, but when it comes to reality, you haven't done anything.
That's my line, Pinocchio. And then stop it insane. Posey didn't lose Rodon and Kevin Gosman, Snell, whose names we all threw out tonight, Lou.
Who
is he brought in? Who is he brought in?
You can't
bring
in
him.
I'll tell you what.
Snell,
hold on.
He didn't re-sign with us, but Buster didn't go after him. He was.
I'll tell you. I think there's a reason why. I don't think, and this is just me. I don't think Blake Snell had any intention of coming back to San Francisco.
I agree there.
He took Farhan for a ride. He wasn't signing anywhere. Farhan was willing to give him a $30 million for 1 year, and he had to opt out. So what do you think's going to do? Yeah, I'm going to take my $30 million. I'm going to boost up my freaking value, and then I'm getting the hell out of here. And what?
Well, he didn't. His value was already boosted. I mean, he had a terrible year with us. Don't forget, he was hurt right out of camp. It wasn't really
but that second half, that's the thing. The second half.
He was one of the best. And everyone knew he wasn't coming back. You should have traded him.
Yes.
At the trade deadline for at least 2
Oh, God, we got nothing for him, Lou. We got nothing for him. Another problem with this organization. At least they did make the trades this year at the trade deadline. At least they showed me
something. And it backfired.
Don't get like we said earlier, Lou.
Do me a favor,
what did we say earlier? Do it, and if it doesn't work out, at least you did it.
Hold on. So what?
And here's the other thing. I don't want them bringing back Rogers. If Duvall's a free agent, I don't want them back. We got rid of him for a reason.
Yeah.
I don't want to. I'm. It's like if Yaz is a free agent, I don't want him coming back to the Giants. Why would I want him coming back when I didn't like him as a player here? Again, it's a safe bet. Oh, I'll take less money. I don't care if it's less money. I don't want him in right field. There's got to be better players that we can get. We're the Giants.
Why did fans say that, though? Lou, why is it the San Francisco Giant fan? I was yelling at some. I'm yelling tonight again. I was yelling at somebody last week because Eric and I were doing the show together, and they kept bringing that up. Whoa, he's cheap. I'm like, that should not be in our vocabulary, Lou. He's cheap. That should not be. Is that our new logo next year? Giants baseball. We're still cheap.
Mm-hmm.
Why do we have to use the term cheap? We have money. Spend it. It's not our money. Why are the fan base afraid to spend their money?
Hold on. They're spending money. They spent $151 million on Chapman, 182 on Adames. They spent 280. They absorbed 280 of Devers. So they're spending money.
They got to spend more, Eric, because we're not competitive.
But last year, they couldn't because they had to get underneath the CBT because it has costs when it comes to getting draft picks. And the last thing that this club needs is losing on draft picks because this year, if I'm not mistaken, they missed on the 2nd and the 5th round because of what they did last year. So now they've reset. Now they got all this money to spend. Go out there, go get starting pitcher. If you want to do some trades, that's fine. And maybe you could lure another bat here. It's not gonna be easy, but I got a feeling that the Giants this year are gonna spend a lot more money than they did even last year because now they have the wiggle room to go out there and spend. Look, as I said,
Eric, I'm gonna make a deal with you. With opening day a week before the Yankees, they better improve this team, or I'm personally gonna go up to Galt to you, go on your door and say, Eric, you were wrong again.
Hey, you know what? That could very well happen.
What you'll do is you go, Lou, you're correct. I'm going to take you to the best hamburger place I've been talking about a year.
Stevie Boys. I'm taking it. Hey, Lou, you come down to golf. I'll take you to Stevie Boys. Holy crap, dude. Wow.
I think one good thing is you have to write some of this stuff down because it's amazing. People say stuff in the chat and then you bring it up like 2 or 3 months later. Denial. It wasn't me.
Always.
It wasn't me.
Always.
It wasn't me.
No. I would never do that. I mean, I've been wrong on a bunch of damn things. Come on. And does it mean anything? No, it doesn't, because we're just talking baseball. We're having fun. It's life.
It's all about having
hanging.
fun.
Yes, right. My life doesn't hang. I don't go walking out there out in the streets and go, I wonder if they know I'm the guy that said that we're going to sign Juan Soto. I don't do that.
They know, Eric. They know, right, Lou? We went to the game, and every 5 minutes, somebody's tapping me on the shoulder.
Is that Eric from Giants? Is that Eric? Giants Sports Talk?
You think I can get a photo with him? Can I get a photo with him? I know he's sitting in the front row. God, he got great seats. He must know
they're looking
somebody.
at me. I'm like, what about me?
Who are you?
Who are you? Who's the bald guy?
Oh, come on.
Everybody knew Eric.
Yeah, but who got the ball?
Hey.
Who got the ball?
Yeah.
Dude, at the end of the day, that's all I care
How
about
did he
right
get a
there,
ball?
man.
He must be friends with Eric. Did you see Flores actually gave him the ball?
Oh, that was, Eric's like,
Eric.
Wilmer.
Oh,
You guys all went for refreshments, and I was the lone guy who stayed back. I thank my lucky stars.
Hey, I didn't actually say he would. I'm just saying the Giants have an opportunity. They had the means to do that. What means did they have? Well, they had one of these.
Fly him around town, show him his, we're going to name that park after you.
The Kingdom, Soto Park.
We will erect a statue.
Oh my gosh, dude.
Soto Stadium. There you go.
But honestly, I think for this year, I got a feeling they're going to be spending money on pitching. Look what you're seeing right now in the postseason. What's getting through? Pitching, man.
Pitching.
Yeah, but you better be quick. You better be quick with getting the manager, because Lou, you brought it up earlier in the show. This is not a big year for talent in the free agent market. You better have your sights set on somebody. Go make it happen.
Man. Yeah, and I also said the Giants were going to sign Corbin Burns. I said that one. I thought for sure.
Yeah, that was a classic.
I thought that was for sure. Remember, I made that meme?
I was part of the audience.
That was when we lost Roki and Corbin. That was pretty damn good.
And the Giants didn't even talk to him. Remember that?
No,
Susan goes,
they never did.
So maybe that's just what's coming as far as is that what we've got to look forward to? I said to Lou earlier, Eric, nothing would surprise me with this team. It never has. I have learned to expect the unexpected, and you won't be disappointed.
Yeah.
Maybe they hire a manager and we go, who? Maybe it's something out of left field.
Did you hit all the other Fujis? I see he has 5. Did you already hit them all?
Yeah, that's his 6. We already got the other 5.
The 6th one. Is the Phillies manager gone next or retire or leave? Maybe. I mean, I think there's reports saying that he's coming back, but
why would he not come back? Look at that team he's managing.
Doesn't matter. Maybe he wants to retire. Maybe he's getting old. He doesn't want to do it no more.
No, the team itself is getting old.
Yeah, it is
getting old.
They're losing a lot of guys.
They're losing a lot.
You guys are shitting on every freaking manager in baseball.
Hey, who ordered the poo-poo platter?
There's got to be somebody to manage the teams. Come on. Somebody will keep their job.
Now, here's the other thing. If that becomes available, and he leaves, Schroberg, would he be available? Would he want to go back under a new manager? That's the problem. When a manager leaves, sometimes they have a love with the players. Does he want to come back for 3 years and $100 million? I think the other thing I was going to ask you, Eric, and I haven't had a chance to, because, I haven't been on your show every day, is with Tucker. To tell you the truth, had a bad probably last 2 months of the season.
He did.
Who knows if the Cubs are going to sign him? Do you think maybe that's the way the Giants can maybe swoop and get him?
Why, Lou? Because they get him cheap.
He's going to get paid.
There you go.
He's going to get paid. I got the feeling that Tucker is not in the Giants' plans. I got a feeling it's going to be starting pitching, and I want to be surprised and also the bullpen. I want to be surprised if we see a trade. Would not be surprised to upgrade that outfield. This is one that's going to be. We have seen that Posey has the panache to go out there and make big moves. No one saw the Adames. No one saw the Devers. I mean, we'll have to see. And then to an extent, I guess we kind of saw that at the end of the season with Bob Melvin, but that took some took some guts for him to go out there and fire Bob Melvin. Because to be honest with you, got to talk about a safe bet. That was probably would have been a safe bet is if you just kept bring him on, right? I mean,
I don't agree with all, Eric. I don't think it was a safe bet.
I think it was. If they brought him back,
that wasn't safe. I mean, then Buster should resign right away. There was no bringing Bob Melvin back.
I think it was 50-50.
I think if he didn't fire him, then you might as well just say, Buster,
that's the problem. And here's another thing with Bob Melvin. A lot of people thinks that he's just a low-key guy. It sounds like the guy is pretty damn belligerent, I think was the word that I heard that was used about him when he's actually talking to the front office and everything. Yeah. He got kind of run out of Arizona.
Was the most quiet guy I've ever.
But when he's talking to, basically, I'm the manager. I know what I want to do. You ain't going to tell me what the hell I'm going to do. That's kind of how he is. But unfortunately, he was dictated a lot of things that had to be done. And
why was he doing all the same things as Farhan was doing a year before? I didn't see. I brought it up before, Eric. I didn't see him. Nothing was different.
Yeah.
And again, I think it was the right. Maybe. We had to make this move.
Look,
we had to get a new manager.
And I agree. For the simple fact because of the way that the season ended. And a lot of it wasn't because of Bob Melvin. I think, Lou, you brought it up, right? You traded one of your two best bullpen arms. What do you think you're going to do? And look, at that time, you got to make the deal because the Giants were out of it. You don't know what's going to happen 2 months after because he thought they were out of it while they wound up making this huge run, got people excited about it, which is fine, right? I mean, they gave it the old college try and they just fell up a little bit short. So
not only that, Eric, they go out and they get rid of Bob Melvin, right? Right. Mm-hmm. I said to Lou, Lou and I had an extensive, well thought out, well educated conversation, bantering back and forth about cleaning house. They need a new hitting coach. They sure as hell need a new pitching coach. Why can they not once and for all clean house? Why do they got to be bringing people back? Talk about safe bet.
There's no one, and I haven't heard anyone coming back.
Hitting coach, pitching coach, top on my list. Get them the hell out of here.
JP Martinez is a fantastic pitching coach. You don't get rid of him.
Well, then go get. For what team though? We didn't make the playoffs, Eric.
Yeah, but is that the fault of the coach, or is that the fault of the players?
Oh well, then hire a guy for a 25-year contract. And it's not the manager's fault.
That's not how that's been how it goes. Usually, because when you go hire a new manager, a lot of times, and it depends on the POBO. Sometimes the POBO has hey, I want these guys as my coaches, but you're going to be the manager. And there's sometimes the manager's like, no, I want to hire my own coaches, and the POBO's got to agree with it. So this is not just
that's the way it should be. Manager brings in his own guys.
That makes sense to me, right?
Because you remember,
manager should bring in the guys.
Who was our coach? The guy the food critic before Melvin. Kapler. Who was our guy that only? Yeah, Kapler. What do we have? 17 coaches.
Yeah, there were 17
coaches. I mean, come on.
It was
so
weird.
We had 17 coaches for a team that had 26 guys. I mean, are you kidding me? That was the one problem. But I do agree. Whoever brings in, you got to bring your own because you bring your own style. You know, when you think back about Bochy, we had your guy that you would love to be manager as a great bench coach, sort of a second manager, right? They had when you go back to what we need is, I always think of Roger Craig, right? And the reason why I thought of him is everybody hated Candlestick. So he says, guys, why don't we use it to our advantage, right? Let everybody else hate Candlestick. Let us use it. We went to the World Series. You know, we all keep talking about the ballpark. We need to change the ballpark. Dan probably brought it up 25 times. People, we need to change the ballpark. Why don't we do it where the ballpark can be our advantage and have everybody else coming in saying, oh my God, this place is too big. We can't hit homers, or the gaps are too big. We need to make the ballpark our advantage and stop with the excuses. And if you're going to do that, then we need, as Buster said, contact guys that don't strike out, people that can actually hit in the gap. You know, you brought up, I think, Eric, the other night I was watching you, Palenko, a guy that can hit in the clutch. I mean, tonight you hit another grand slam. I mean, it's lefty or righty. You got to get guys that have succeeded in these big moments. You know, it doesn't matter if a guy bats 320 and 30 homers during the regular season, and then during the playoffs, he's a no-show. You got to get someone that can do it.
Perfect.
Another reason why the new manager has to bring in his own guys, because you need your own guys coaching your team. That's why Buster can't be naming all the other coaches.
Mm-hmm.
You can't have a manager. Then what is the manager's control? He has to have a staff, the manager.
Yeah, correct.
I got my guy teaching my guys how to hit. I got my guy addressing my pitching staff. My guys. So I think they got a clean house. Totally got the thing. Get all new managers, coaches, all that. Clean it house.
Well, I think that's coming because the third base coach is gone. The bench coach is gone. Don't know what's going to happen with Hallberg at first base. We don't know what's going to happen with JP or Pat Burrell. I got a feeling, though, with a new manager, those guys could potentially be gone. There's no doubt about it. Well, we'll see how it works out. Now, the bigger thing is we also got to improve the roster, and we're kind of talking about that. You got talking about guys who hit in the clutch. Polanco, great point there, Lou. The guy right now is the guy that's stepping up for the Seattle Mariners, man. How many games has he's won 3 games for the damn Mariners.
The MVP of the playoffs.
He is
right now.
Kike Hernandez, the dude in a regular season is ass. Yeah. But you put him in the
Hernandez brothers are ridiculous.
My God, man.
And they've been there before. We talked about this earlier, all this stuff, Lou, about how the Dodgers, they have that, like tonight's game. The 9th inning, it looked like, oh, my God. Trinan came in, never broke a sweat. He's like, I've been here before.
I tell you what, Roki got freaking rattled. Rodeo. Roki got rattled, though. I'll tell you that. It's
all right, but when you look at the pitching they got, Eric. The Dodgers pitching is going to win them a World Series.
There's absolutely. Blake Snell threw a absolute gem. But I'm telling you, the Roki Sasaki, the deeper it gets in the higher pressure situations, we'll see what he's going to be made of.
He's never done it before. These games are
never
more
done
important.
it before.
He's never done it. Yeah.
Correct. So you've got your look, and one thing, Milwaukee Brewers, they're going to be tough. They fight you. That's one thing that the Milwaukee Brewers do is they fight you. So
but if you were talking about the Blue Jay bullpen today, Eric, I could see.
Oh,
Roki hasn't blown a game yet, so he hasn't done anything wrong yet.
He got pulled. He got pulled. He almost blew the game. They pulled him.
He didn't lose. He's still
no, but they yanked him though. That he was shaky. They had to go rescue him. They had to go get him out of there and bring in Blake Trinan. They had 2 pitchers that had to finish the 9th inning. You got to be careful. I'm just saying. Does it mean that Roki is going to be a failure on the way? No. But I'm just saying the crowd got to him and he felt the pressure. And he's not
I don't know if it was crowd. I think a good team got to him.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, they were putting up some good at-bats.
A good team who went 8 innings and got 3 hits. I think.
And another thing is, if you notice, Roki was not locating very well. His fastballs were down the middle and everything else was off the plate. So his command was not there. So that's something to keep an eye on. But if the Dodgers starting pitching continues to do what they're doing, it's going to be a long day for the
dominance tonight, Eric. Dominance.
It's going to be, it was. There's no doubt about it. But yeah, does Teoscar Hernandez not understand the sacrifice fly? Did you see how they ruled that? It was a grounded into double play. That's how they ruled it. Grounded into double play. That play at home
to
plate
center field.
Yep. It was grounded into double play. That was the official ruling. Crazy.
Grounded? Never grounded into.
It was considered because the ball was in play. It wasn't a caught ball. So it was considered grounded into double play. That's how they ruled it. Weird, man. Never seen anything like that before. Have you, Lou? I've never seen that.
No. I think the problem is again, I could be wrong, but during the playoffs, they have the 4 umpires, first, second, third, and then home. And then they have the guys 2 down the line. They don't have one for center field. So I never saw the umpire call save or out. So one of the guys down the line had to do it. But, you're right. You're not sure if he caught it because you didn't see it
Yeah.
hit it. There was a little confusion. You know,
But
even
the
when
thing
they went
is-
to the replay, there was no confusion.
Marty made a good point. He's like, what was Teoscar doing? He should have just stayed on the bag. And as soon as it hit his glove, you walked to home plate. You walked.
Yeah, because he was halfway down the line, and there you're going to tag up or you're going to score anyway. So another mental error.
Yeah, it would make no sense.
And again,
Just get
great
on the bag.
relays.
Get on the
Great
bag.
relay to
Yes. Great. And then it was smart
you
on.
got to remember, smart
Ran to
on the
third base.
catcher. Hey,
Yep.
there's 3 guys out there. Let's just go over there.
Yep.
So I think.
But it's again another case, Lou. Like we talked earlier, Lou. This easily could have been a 7-1 ball game. Very easily. The score of this game was not indicative of who should have won.
And Eric, I told Glenn it was sort of like the Dodgers have been there before. They knew what to expect.
Yes.
Milwaukee was sort of like a deer in the headlights. Now I think they'll come back tomorrow, but you got to give a lot of credit to Snell. Snell let Snell get in a groove. They never really did try to do anything. And then when they had a chance to win it, they couldn't come through. But it's, again, it's one game. But the Dodgers, the thing about the Dodgers, they never panic. They could be down 4-0. They know they have enough to win, and that's what makes them so tough, And again, they're the world champions. You got to knock them out when you get a chance.
Lou, you went to warm up your coffee. Eric's right on the money. That play we've been discussing that we mentioned earlier in the show, and Eric brought up again about the fly ball to center field and the whole kerfuffle.
8-6-2. Yeah.
You know how that was grounded into a double play.
Grounded into a double play.
Yeah, I guess because it didn't leave the field. And
because the ball was in play. It was not a caught ball. So
Max Muncy grounds into double play. Will Smith out. Oscar Hernandez out. So if I'm reading the line score of that, double play ball.
No big deal. But you watch the film and you're like,
8-6-2? 8-6-2.
Yeah,
Did they have 5 guys on the outfield
for a while?
My God, it was hit to the warning track in center field, and you're telling me Teoscar Hernandez couldn't figure out the tag and go.
When he first touched it, I thought it was going to be a Canseco. I thought he was going to put it over the wall himself.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
And then I got all screwed up, to be honest with you. When it went off his glove and then hit the yellow line and came in. I went, oh, is that a home run? I was all, dude, there was a lot going on quickly.
There was a lot going on.
I'm like, is it a home run? Wait a sec. No, they're going to clear the bases. And then he caught the ball. I didn't know what the hell. But it went off. My initial thought was, even after it went off the wall, he caught it, so he's out. And I'm like, oh, what's going on?
No, once it hits the wall,
it was in play.
Yeah,
well, that was what was worse. They should have cleared the bases on that.
In play, yeah. And again, you got to blame the third base coach. Saying,
what was he doing?
Here. You're going to score. And then that's something where maybe we take it for granted, but you have the bases loaded. That guy's saying, hey, with 1 out, you're tagging up if it's to the outfield. That's why you have third base coaches. But some of these
all due respect, Lou, 9 times out of 10, I'll be yelling at Eric saying, I'm tired. It doesn't matter what our third base coach says. The players, they just do what they want. Yeah. Half the time they don't follow their third base coach instructions. And in fairness to the third base coach, who's been a third base coach in LA and in their minor league system for like 30 years, maybe he was just as much caught up in what the fuck is going on.
maybe he thought that.
And again, that's where
still, as soon as the ball hit the glove, though, he should have known tag go. What are you doing? I don't know.
Yeah,
and even when they throw to third, I'm like, they didn't tag him. They didn't tag him. I was in left field of my own.
It was very confusing. That's why maybe they'll talk about it in the new agreement, the bargain agreement. Maybe you need an extra umpire for somebody in the gaps. Or, because
don't they have 8?
Remember, that was in this.
They have 8 now.
No, they have, but not in center field. They have the main 4, and then they have the guys down the line.
Extra 2 on the line.
Yeah, well, what are you going to put one out? You're going to sit in a chair out to the fan center.
Yeah, but you got to remember, that's the farthest ball away. Nobody could see.
Supposedly,
drones.
The left field umpire, this is according to Glenn, he gave the safe call. I guess saying the ball's in play. It wasn't caught. So he saw it.
He's running out trying to see it. He probably
ran out there, to be honest with you.
Yeah, to see it.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
That was a crazy
night. Again, they always say you go to a baseball game, you might see something you've never seen before.
I'm telling you, that's the damn truth. That is the damn truth.
Hey, we talked about everything but.
And now, a Giant Sports Talk Live scoreboard update.
We were talking about coaches and managers and trades. And Lou, we should revisit. Dodgers beat Milwaukee. That's what we're talking about. 2-1 in a wild game. And the Mariners this afternoon, their bats erupted 10-3 over the Blue Jays. So it's an off day, a travel day for the Jays. Like you like to say, Lou, right back at it tomorrow. Dodgers and Milwaukee. Do they bounce back against the blue and white?
Well, the thing about the Dodgers tonight, they were 1 for 10 with runners in scoring position. And again, 2 of those out of the 10 didn't score on that play. You know how crazy that is. So
right.
I think Milwaukee will come back tomorrow to make it. I mean, they're going to at least score. You got to remember, they only got 1 hit off Snell. Really, I think, was it 2 for the game or 3 for the game? And this team can hit, especially at home. So I expect them, you give all the credit to Snell. I think maybe Milwaukee was sort of stuck in the, in the light post. And I think they'll bounce back tomorrow. I just think Milwaukee's good. And all game, you remember, they lost 2 on the road at Chicago. They came back to win that game. They dominated the Cubs and their pitching at home. So I think they'll bounce back tomorrow.
I think they lose tomorrow. I think they lose tomorrow. The Dodgers didn't. The Dodgers, like you say, they didn't erupt. They had their chances today. I think Milwaukee had a chance to steal one today. And the fact that they didn't at home, then I think they blew it. And I think the main question tomorrow will be which Yamamoto shows up.
Yeah.
He'll either have a Snell-like performance or he'll be gone in the 3rd inning.
Yeah. That's the key right there is for Yamamoto. And hey, Freddie Peralta, he had a horrible outing in Chicago. Now, is he going to have the same again? I don't know, because he had a pretty damn good year.
Yeah.
And he's at home, so maybe
he's not the Chicago Cubs are playing anymore either.
Yeah, exactly. That's a fact. Whew.
It's been good. It's been good though. I mean, every game
baseball's been fantastic.
Every game has had something to talk about. It has given our opportunity on this kind of a forum to talk about it.
Yeah,
it hasn't been boring.
That's the best. I'm telling you, that's one thing I love about baseball. We could sit here and talk about it for hours if you wanted to. You could get freaking molecular with that stuff if you wanted. I mean, it's just it's fun to talk about. And hey, Blue, I didn't get a chance to ask you real quick, as I know we're getting a little bit long. You concerned about the Blue Jays?
I thought today, Glenn talked about is they were down right away, 3-0. Mm-hmm. Then they tied it. But, when you come back, you got to get the lead. And they never could get the lead to go up 4-3. And then they missed a couple chances. And then all of a sudden it was 6-3 and then 10-3. I still think, because they're a good hitting team. I mean, Seattle's bullpen has been phenomenal, but they're due for a couple cracks. So I think they'll at least come back to Toronto for Game 6. Then you win 2 on the road to begin with. Again, it's going to be a lot different because I'm hoping that Seattle doesn't read the newspapers. Oh, we're up 2-0. It's over. We're home for 3, all this. And then before you know it, Toronto. I think Toronto's the type of team where if they can have one good inning where they can maybe put up a 4 spot, they can get back rolling again. Because that's sort of how this team is. They haven't really had that chance. But I think they're in trouble. I think, they're down 2-0. I was sort of surprised today where, again, we talked about the young superstar, but he never pitched in ALCS.
Right.
And, he gave up, some runs. And before I thought Toronto did one thing. Hey, they were down 3-0. They could have put their heads down after losing Game 1. They came back. They just haven't had that explosion that I'm expecting.
And playing catch up
Seattle.
Too,
yeah. So I think, I think Seattle, if Seattle can win Game 3, I think they could probably win Game 5 and then come back. I don't know if they can win this. It's hard, when you're up 2-0 on the road, but that's why they play the games. And to tell you the truth, if there's anything about being on your show, I think these games have all been unpredictable. We thought Milwaukee was up 2-0. Oh, they got it. And all of a sudden, Chicago wins 2. We thought Toronto had the advantage. Seattle wins 2. And I think this might just be one of those playoffs when you think you know it, it goes the other way. And that's what I'm hoping. I go, especially for your site, guys, on your show, I want them to be great playoffs. I want a spectacular World Series to help baseball. Hopefully the Giants can hire a manager so you have more to talk about, and then free agency. And then, before you know it, it's Christmas, and then we're about 60 days away of pitchers and catchers, and then we start it all up again.
That's a fact.
And we got the National League going tomorrow, guys. So like I said, isn't it ironic? Lou, you're right on, man. You're nailing everything tonight. Everybody was talking about how Milwaukee, I mean, Dodgers couldn't get a sniff of a win. They can't touch it. Now, who's leading the series 1-0? And again, I don't think the Dodgers did enough to really inspire anyone today, and that should be frightening for Milwaukee fans. If Shohei Ohtani keeps doing what Shohei Ohtani's doing.
What's he doing?
Dude, he was on base 3 times tonight.
How many hits did he get?
They wouldn't pitch to him. They're scared of him, Eric. He's too good. He's too dominant.
No, you know what they need to do? That's the problem, because he is gettable, and they're deciding to put him on base rather than pitch to him.
We'll talk about it tomorrow night when I go, Eric, he had 2 home runs. Should have walked him, huh?
We'll see.
And then, Eric, I think the one thing about the Dodgers is they have guys like Freeman, Hernandez, boys.
Yes.
People forget Freeman was the MVP of the World Series last year.
Yes, he was.
And we talked about this early. It's not the superstars. They need to step up, but it's people you don't think about. You brought up Kike Hernandez. That son of a bitch guy is everywhere. It's the same thing.
Dude.
You never thought about the last night. Was it Miller? The fifth guy. Yeah. Oh, he's not going to do anything. They're forcing him. The guy pitched straight. It's always who you least expect it. And that's why the playoffs are so unique. And that's the guys that step up to the plate. When you have guys like Freeman, right? Like I said, the guy, he's one of the most quiet superstars I've ever heard of. He's got Mookie Betts in front of Ohtani, but every time he produces. And what I told Glenn is, remember,
and he's a good ball player.
He was a free agent. Everyone said he's coming back to Atlanta. What? You're going to be a Dodger? It was less money, but he realized, hey, this is what I want to do. I want to take my career to another level. And obviously it was the right decision. But, it's just amazing with the Dodgers. Now, it's so funny. You'll say, okay, you know what? We're not pitching to Freeman. We're not going to let Ohtani beat us. And then that's where Betts goes 4 for 5 with 2 triples.
Yep. That's
and they have guys that have done it before that are clutch. Will Smith, they've talked about that on TV tonight. They're saying that guy always seems to be up in a crucial situation, and he's not scared of the moment. And he's going to come through. Polanco, he's now 362 with runners in scoring position. I mean, it's sort of ridiculous.
Unbelievable, dude.
Funny you bring that up.
He's sort of doing what Mark Grace and Will Clark did when the Cubs played the Giants. It seemed like they were always up in the biggest times, and they always came through. So,
it's
exciting.
John Heyman, real quick. John Heyman, about a minute ago, sources, Twins are seeking permission to interview Red Sox bench coach Ramon Vasquez for their managing opening. So getting a little bit of movement.
Good news
on
for Ramon.
What other teams are looking to do. So there you go.
I guess this is a shot at me there, Lou. Dodgers didn't do enough. Snell, dude, come on. Lou, what were the Dodgers with runners in scoring position tonight? They stole this game.
They were like the San Francisco Giants average, 1 for 10.
That's
incredible. Funny you bring up the Giants, because as soon as I mentioned Shohei getting on base, he got on base 3 times. Who pops in? Who pops in?
He ain't doing shit. He ain't.
Yeah, but you know what? See, I usually ignore those in the chat because
they're 12-1 and their last
Lou, that was the San Francisco Giants playing tonight, and that was Devers. Substitute Devers for Shohei. It wouldn't say Devers ain't doing shit. Oh no, it's because it's Shohei. You know what, Shohei? I will give you Devers.
They're 12-1 in the last 13
I'll give you a lot of our
played it.
team to get an Ohtani. Thank you.
I'll tell you what, there's a lot of people out there that don't like Shohei, not necessarily because of his baseball play. A lot of people think that he's guilty of the gambling stuff. And I think that's kind of what I think drives a lot of this in the Ohtani hate, is they think that he basically avoided getting busted for gambling. So take it for what it is. I don't have any.
That's
I don't know.
But that's stupidity.
I don't know any proof.
That's stupidity.
I don't know if there's any
That's stupidity. That's stupidity. There's no that.
There it is. Fuji, $2. Shohei is keeping an eye on his parlays. There you go. See, that's what it is. There's a segment of fans out there that don't like him because of that.
I know, Eric, but that's Eric. You know how I feel. This is like politics. Just because you say something, don't mean it's reality.
Yeah. You know,
like, he's guilty. Well, why? Oh, because I said so. Oh, come on.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it is a little bit weird that is interpreter.
Thank you, Jay Farrell. Thank you. There's my quote of the night.
It is a little bit weird that his interpreter had access to his bank account. That is a little bit weird, don't you think? A little odd.
If Susan doesn't write it, I don't believe it. Not.
Oh,
see,
man.
You blame Shohei, but then wear a T-shirt that says "Free Ipe."
Yeah,
which you know what? You're not on either side. That's ridiculous.
But all I'm saying is that that's out there. That is definitely something. And Fuji comes back $2. Just kidding.
Yeah, see what happens, Lou? Anytime I get mad at somebody, well, I'm just kidding, Glenn. I'm just kidding.
Well, he's donating $2 saying this, so hey, I'll
You want me to piss him off a little more? I can keep going, Eric. I can go all night doing that. Keep the $1.99s rolling.
Fuji is awesome. We appreciate you, man. You always bring in good stuff. All right. Are we ready?
Anyway, the chat's getting a little out of hand. I can't put up with the crap anymore, Eric. We talked, Lou and I and you, Eric, coming in. We talked some solid ball tonight, Lou. Good job, Lou. Good job.
Thank you, Lou. Appreciate it. Gonna have to do this all over again.
Thanks for calling me in the bullpen.
There you go. Absolutely.
Hey, show, so no problem. Glad I could help.
Well, we always like to get a hold of you around noon, see if you're going to be available. We'll go from there.
No problem. Yeah.
If you're available, love having you on.
I appreciate it, guys. Hey, it's an honor, and you guys keep up the good show. And hopefully, playoffs keep going. And who knows? Maybe tomorrow we might have a surprise thing with the manager or something. That's what's so great about this show. Not only are the baseball playoffs fun, we never know how the show's going to go. And we never know what we're going to report. So I appreciate it.
You betcha.
Yeah, I got on Charlo one night and I gave him the heave ho for 1 month. I sent him over to Dan. I said, Dan, you go watch Dan's channel. I'm sick and tired of this shit.
All right, guys, let's get out of here. We'll be back here tomorrow night. Do it all over again. Woo! Go Brew Crew!
You've been watching Giant Sports Talk Live with Eric and Glenn, a Northern Lights Entertainment Broadcasting production.